What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Pitching Ninja's Filthiest Pitches of the Day. Remember, before we get to those pitches, hit that subscribe button. Join Ninja Nation. Be a part of the biggest and best daily baseball show on YouTube. And now, without further ado, here are my filthiest pitches of the day. I'm going to start with Andrew Abbott, who had 4 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up 5 hits and no runs. He's been brilliant over the first 2 games of his career, giving up no runs in 11.2 innings. He had this painted fastball, the slider, changeup, and curveball, and just dominated, looking like a veteran out there. He faced Miles Michaelis, who went 6 innings, giving up 5 runs, and only had 2 Ks, one of them coming on this fastball. Sandy Alcantara had 4 Ks in 7 innings, giving up only 1 earned run and 3 hits. He painted with this 99-mile-an-hour four-seamer. He had this nasty 99-mile-an-hour sinker that ran 18 inches. I overlaid these 2 99-mile-an-hour fastballs to see the difference in movement, and boy, there's a lot. So even if you're right on speed, you still have to contend with that difference in movement. He also had this wicked 92-mile-an-hour changeup. Look at the movement on that. He faced Michael Kopech, who was outstanding with 6 Ks and 5 scoreless innings. He did run up a lot of pitches, reaching a lot of 3-2 counts, but dominated with his overpowering elevated fastballs. Another solid outing from Michael Kopech. Paul Blackburn had his fastball and breaking ball working and had 5 Ks and 6 scoreless innings. He faced off against Julio Teheran, who had 6 Ks and 7 innings, giving up only 1 run, and had this curveball and sinker. Kyle Freeland had 5 Ks and 5 innings, giving up only 1 run, thanks to his changeup and this sinker that was sometimes off the plate. Tristan McKenzie had 5 Ks in 5 innings, but gave up 5 earned runs and relied on his normal mix of sliders and fastballs. He faced J.P. France, who had 6 Ks in 6 2/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had this slider and curveball. Patrick Sandoval had 8 Ks in 5 innings, giving up 5 runs, and had these changeups and nasty sliders. And he faced Brian Wu, who was making his second career start, and had 7 Ks in 4 2/3 innings, giving up only 2 earned runs. He had his mix of fastballs and sliders working, and actually looked really good this game. Kid's got a big future in front of him. I'd love to see him step up his game, though, and let out a big Ric Flair woo every time he Ks somebody. I guess Lance Lynn kind of already does that. Nathan Eovaldi had 6 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 4 runs, and had this overpowering fastball and curveball. He faced Taj Bradley, who wasn't as good as he had been in his previous outings, giving up 4 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings, but had 4 Ks. Bradley relied on his mix of mid-90s fastballs and curveballs. Cole Irvin had 5 Ks in 5 1/3 innings, thanks to his mid-90s fastball and his curveball, including this one that got a swing that was basically on the grass. He outdueled Brady Singer, who had 4 Ks in 4 1/3 innings, but gave up 4 runs, and had these sliders and painted 2-seamers. Bobby Miller was outstanding with 7 Ks in 6 scoreless innings, giving up only 3 hits. His fastball was up to 100 miles an hour, and he dominated with an array of sliders and changeups, really keeping hitters off balance. He's now had 4 career starts, and his ERA is .78. Really good stuff from Miller. He battled Aaron Nola, who went 6 1/3 innings, giving up 6 runs and had 7 strikeouts. It was actually a low-scoring game until the 7th inning, when he gave up 6 runs. Nola relied on these wicked changeups and knuckle curves and painted with his fastball, and honestly looked really good for most of the game. He looked very Nola-like, but had that one bad inning. Ryan Nelson had 4 Ks in 5 2/3 innings, giving up no runs, and had this elevated fastball, slider, and cutter. Trevor Richards was outstanding with 7 strikeouts in 3 innings, giving up only 1 hit and no runs. And he really dominated mostly due to his changeup. Look at these things. They are absolutely filthy. I overlaid his changeup with his fastball, and you can see how this confuses hitters. They see so many of his changeups that when he throws a fastball, it's almost like their brain freezes and they can't process it, and they end up taking the fastball for a strike in the zone. Richards battled Joe Ryan, who had 4 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, and had these wicked splitters. And where did Joe Ryan learn his splitter? He learned it from this channel, so that's why y'all should subscribe. Yep, he learned it from watching a video with Kevin Gausman's splitter grip. Here's Ryan talking about it.
I kind of stole it from Gausman, I guess. And I watched his Pitching Ninja interview and how his finger was positioned, and I was throwing a traditional split. It was throwing at 70 miles an hour. I understood that the ones that I got behind and spun with my fingertips would carry more, and the ones that I just used the pressure of the inside of my knuckles on would drop and get the action we wanted. I want to feel this middle knuckle, so I just decided to bend that because what Gausman does.
Tanner Houck had 6 Ks in 6 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and relied on his mix of fastballs, cutters, and sliders, as well as a splitter. Here's an overlay of his 95-mile-an-hour sinker with an 85-mile-an-hour slider, and look how well these things tunnel. They end up in the middle of the plate and then go their separate ways. This shows how brutal it is to be a hitter because you have to constantly guess which way this ball's going to move. Houck faced Domingo Germán, who had 5 Ks in 6 innings, giving up only 1 run, thanks mostly to his curveballs, including this one that was a back ankle curveball. And he worked in some nasty changeups too. Johan Oviedo had 5 Ks in 6 1/3 innings, giving up 2 runs, thanks to his sliders. And he faced Kodai Senga, who had 6 Ks in 7 innings, giving up no earned runs, and put on a ghost fork show. Check out this spooky at-bat, where he gets the K on 3 ghost forks in a row. And here's an overlay of his 97-mile-an-hour fastball with the ghost fork, and you can see how unfair this is. He had a 70% whiff rate on the ghost fork for this game, getting 7 whiffs in 10 swings. An excellent bounce-back outing, and he helped me win my parlay. My filthiest MLB starting pitcher of the day was probably Kyle Hendricks. You don't normally think of Kyle Hendricks and filthy in the same sentence, but he did have 3 strikeouts on these changeups and took a no-hitter into the 8th inning, losing it with 2 outs in the 8th. You know that Kyle didn't react when he gave up that hit, so I subbed in a Liam Hendricks reaction, which of course would be much more appropriate. Here's an overlay of Hendricks' fastball and changeup, and it really shows you how he can keep hitters off balance with just those 2 pitches, both through velocity difference and movement. In NCAA baseball, the Super Regionals were taking place, and Hurston Waldrep was outstanding for Florida with 13 strikeouts in 8 innings, giving up only 3 hits and 2 walks. He relied on his splitters, breaking balls, and overpowering fastballs. Just a dominant performance, but the best performance I saw from pitcher yesterday in college was from Paul Skenes. And to be honest, he was my filthiest pitcher of the day. He started out this game with 101 and 102 mile-an-hour fastballs, and then in 1 inning put on this display of changeups, sliders, curveballs, and 100-mile-an-hour heat, reminding me what LeBron James looked like playing in high school. This looked like a major league ace pitching against college kids. Everybody should be hoping that their team drafts Paul Skenes, and my interview with Paul Skenes will be dropping early next week. Don't miss it. He's even more amazing in the interview than he was on the bump. Now on to my filthiest relievers. Brian Abreu had this 100-mile-an-hour fastball and nasty slider. A.J. Puck had these fastballs. Austin Adams had these sliders. Dowry Moreta had this White Castle special. Jesse Chavez had Ks on his fastballs and cutters. Bowden Francis was outstanding with these hammer curveballs and overpowering 98-mile-an-hour heat. Tucker Davidson had these filthy sweepers and sliders. Paul Sewald had this fastball and slider. Devin Williams had this airbender and painted fastball and lowered his ERA this year to .42. Absolutely incredible. Gregory Santos had this evil 101-mile-an-hour sinker. Josh Hader dominated with these fastballs. Adam Ottavino had this sick slider. And my filthiest reliever of the day was from Andres Munoz, who K'd Ohtani, Trout, and Rendon. getting all of them with wicked sliders. Basically a White Castle special, K-ing the side. And now, my Pitching Ninja moment of zen. I don't know how zen this was for 84-year-old John Sterling in the booth.
A pop foul back here.
Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
But my man got hit on the head with this foul ball during the game and kept going. Impressive stuff.
So once again, it'll be a 3-2. And the 3-2 is grounded foul.
What is up, everybody? First, I wanted to start with some good news. FanDuel is giving a 25% profit boost token for today's Red Sox-Yankees game on Sunday Night Baseball, and it's good for any MLB straight bet during that game. My picks of the day today are a 3-leg parlay. I'm going to start out with Braxton Garrett for 5 Ks or more, then take Logan Gilbert for 6 Ks or more, and top it off with Kevin Gausman for 8 Ks or more. What would your picks of the day be?